rise. The Commission on Judicial Appointments is now in session. The Honorable Patricia Guerrero presiding. You may be seated.
Good morning. Welcome to the public hearing of the Commission on Judicial Appointments. As Chief Justice of California, I serve as chair of the Commission. The other members of the Commission are to my right, Attorney General Rob Bonta, and to my left, Presiding Justice Arthur Gilbert, and Janelle Baker serves as Secretary to the Commission. This hearing is to consider Governor Gavin Newsom's appointment of Judge Natalie Stone to the Office of Associate Justice for the Second District Court of Appeal, Division 7. The Commission is in receipt of a letter from Governor Newsom appointing Judge Stone to fill a vacancy created by the very recent elevation of Justice Gonzalo Martinez to presiding justice. The state constitution specifies that an appointment by the governor to the Court of Appeal is effective when confirmed by the Commission on Judicial Appointments. The Commission received correspondence pertaining to this appointment, and we made these letters available to the press and public a few days ago. Pursuant to a request by Governor Newsom, the State Bar's Commission on Judicial Nominees Evaluation has undertaken an evaluation of the qualifications of Judge Stone for this position. Ms. Chaya Malik, the chair of that commission, is present with us here today to share the results of the evaluation later in the proceedings. Judge Stone has asked that the following persons be called to testify on her behalf. I will list the individuals and then call on each speaker to come to the podium or appear remotely.
Can the moderator hear me?
Yes, Justice Willhite, can you hear us? Are you able to hear us?
Apparently not.
Can we check
And
with
are we
them?
ready for my testimony? I can't hear anything from the meeting.
Okay, we'll pause to assist, hopefully, somehow.
I hope they fix this before they do the judicial elevator. It's only been 3 years or more.
All right, I apologize for the delay. Chief Justice Guerrero, Presiding Justice Gilbert, and Attorney General Bonta, it is a pleasure and honor to testify before you today in support of the nomination of the Honorable Natalie P. Stone to become an Associate Justice of the California Court of Appeal.
Justice
Second Appellate
Willhite?
District Division 7.
Okay,
At
we'll
the
let him.
outset, I'm not going to try to hide my agenda. I'm a fan,
go with
and
it.
I can think as an Associate Justice than Judge Stone. I'm sure you know the outline of Judge Stone's background and her professional career. After graduating from UCLA School of Law in 1998, she clerked for the Honorable Wallace Tashima of the United States Court of Appeal for the Ninth Circuit. Then in 1999, she joined the law firm of Munger, Tolles, and Olson as an associate. In 2010, I was lucky enough to have her apply to be a research attorney in my chambers in Division 4 of the Court of Appeal for the Second Appellate District. And you know, as judges, we sometimes look back on our decisions and wonder if perhaps we might have reached another reasonable result. But I can tell you in the case of Judge Stone, I've never looked back. Hiring her was one of the best decisions I've made in my professional career, and I wish that all my appellate opinions were that correct. Judge Stone worked as a research attorney in my chambers from 2010 until her appointment to the Los Angeles Superior Court in 2015, where she has served with distinction in child dependency and criminal law assignments. And at various times, she has served as a justice pro tem for 3 divisions of the Second District Court of Appeal, Divisions 3, 4, and lastly, Division 7, to which she stands nominated today. She's received rave reviews from all the divisions where she's worked, and I know her future colleagues in Division 7 are delighted that she is on the verge of becoming a member of that distinguished panel. So that's the outline of Judge Stone's career, but I'd like to share with you 3 qualities that I believe are qualities that perhaps can't be quantified but or easily described in a professional resume. First quality of Judge Stone I want to highlight is playmaking. What do I mean by that? Well, in her spare time, Judge Stone is an avid and accomplished soccer player, a sport that requires endurance and teamwork that goes beyond the individual brilliance of a player and the glory of a single player on the field. So, to use a soccer analogy, as a judicial colleague, Judge Stone is like an attacking playmaker on the soccer field. She's brilliant in her own right, but she makes everyone around her better, makes the outcome better by inspiration and collaboration. The point isn't who gets to score the goal, but rather simply that the goal gets scored. The second quality I want to emphasize is conscientiousness. Being an appellate jurist is, as I've stated, a collaborative enterprise. On the majority of the Court of Appeal decisions on which your name will appear, you are not the author, but a panel member. And as a panel member, you certainly read the briefs and you have informed opinions about the case. But given the volume of work, you can't read the record in every case. You can't do intensive research on every issue. And so you have to have trust and faith in the conscientiousness of the lead author, your colleague, and in their chambers. The type of diligence that scours and accurately presents the record, cites all the necessary legal principles, and reaches a thoughtful, reasoned decision. As my former colleague, the late presiding Justice Norman Epstein used to say many times, as has Justice Gilbert in countless opinion writing seminars, if it doesn't write, it's not right. Judge Stone writes to get it right. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't comment on something a bit more personal, Judge Stone's innate sense of decency, compassion, and common sense. She is well versed in the law, but brilliant legal scholarship is not enough to make someone a fine justice because appellate opinions are not mere academic exercises. Judge Stone understands this, and her decency, compassion, and common sense informs her judicial philosophy. Not so as to lead her to depart from an honest assessment of the required result, but rather in expressing her decisions in ways that contribute not simply to the reality, but to the public perception of justice. So in closing, I'd like to say that in Judge Stone, the governor has nominated an exceptionally well-qualified candidate, and I urge you to vote for that confirmation. Thank you. I would like to respond to any questions you might have for me. Unfortunately, I'm having difficulty hearing the proceedings, so I apologize for that. If the moderator might be able to help me or not, I don't know, but thank you.
We thank Justice Willhite, although he may not be able to hear him, but we appreciate his remarks, and he's off the hook because we can't ask him any questions.
We can wave goodbye.
Wave. Thank you. Okay. And we next invite the second speaker to the podium, the Honorable Kim Nguyen, who's a judge with the California Superior Court for Los Angeles County.
Good morning, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Senior Presiding Justice Gilbert. Thank you for allowing me the honor and privilege of testifying in support of the confirmation of my dear friend and colleague, Judge Natalie Stone. A little background. Judge Stone and I first met in 2010 when we were appellate court attorneys for the Second District Court of Appeal. We became fast friends. We had both recently left private practice to begin our careers in public service, and we were both mothers to young children struggling to find that elusive balance between work and family. It turns out we would spend the next 14 years working side by side. From the Court of Appeal as appellate court attorneys, to the Edelman Children's Courthouse as dependency judges, to the Metropolitan Courthouse as criminal judges in a misdemeanor assignment, and finally to the Foltz Courthouse as limited felony judges. In 2002 through 2003, we even managed to serve as pro tem justices on the Court of Appeal at the same time, thus returning to the place where we first met. Over the course of these 14 years, I have witnessed how Judge Stone has approached each of her cases with an admirable blend of intelligence and compassion, always striving to understand the full impact of her rulings on the parties who appear before her, while upholding principles of justice and law. While on the dependency bench, Judge Stone worked tirelessly to ensure that children who were at risk of abuse and neglect were kept safe, while parents who battled with addiction, disempowerment, and intergenerational trauma had the fullest opportunity to reunify with their children and heal. As stated by a judge who has spent over 20 years on the dependency bench, Judge Stone arrived at Children's Court during a time of crushing caseloads in Los Angeles County. Without any hands-on experience in dependency, she exhibited one of the steepest learning curves that I have ever seen, quickly learning to manage a busy court calendar and the complexities of dependency law. She handled each of her cases with wisdom and care and displayed kindness and compassion to every family who appeared before her. Colleagues who have worked with Judge Stone on the criminal bench have equally high praise for her. According to one colleague who currently serves in a position of leadership, Judge Stone has proven to be one of the most respected judges on our criminal bench. Her commitment to ensuring access to justice shines through in every case over which she presides. For Judge Stone, fairness and equality are not just ideals, but tangible outcomes that must be strived for every day. Whether on the dependency or criminal bench, Judge Stone's decisions have always reflected a deep understanding of the law, shaped by an unwavering commitment to see justice served. Judge Stone's work on the Superior Court bench has resolved conflicts, healed families and communities, and turned personal challenges into opportunities for growth and reconciliation. Over the last several years especially, I have come to depend immensely on Judge Stone's sound advice, impeccable judgment, and genuine friendship. I've staggered into her office on so many late afternoons after a long day on the bench with a number of issues that I just couldn't figure out. And on those occasions, after she's had an equally exhausting day, she has never once said, "Kim, it's late, can we talk about this tomorrow?" Or, "Kim, I'm exhausted, can you do your own research?" To the contrary, Judge Stone's eyes will light up, and you can tell those gears in her head are turning, and she'll say, "There's gotta be an opinion on that." And she'll spin her chair around and begin researching the issue. Or she'll say, "That sounds like this kind of problem. Have you looked at this statute?" And she'll immediately grab her code book. Or, "I know we had a training on that." And she'll start digging through her file cabinet to find anything to help. Because that's Judge Stone, always up for an intellectual challenge, always ready to find the answer if an answer exists, and if one doesn't exist, ready to help come up with one, and always ready and eager to help a friend and colleague. I'll wrap up with a short anecdote that always brings a smile to my face whenever I think of it. Judge Stone had a case involving a hotly contested issue. After allowing the parties a considerable amount of time to make their arguments and record, she issued a ruling that was, of course, thoughtful, measured, and absolutely grounded in the law. Counsel for the side she ruled against demanded that he be allowed to make a further appellate record. Judge Stone graciously agreed, and he stated, "For the record, I have never disagreed more with a court's ruling." Without even a moment's hesitation, Judge Stone replied calmly, "The extent of your disagreement with the court is irrelevant. Can we move on to the next issue?" And there you have it, a razor-sharp wit, an unflappable demeanor, and a judge who could teach a master class on the difference between making a true appellate record and inconsequential puffery. While I will certainly miss working alongside Judge Stone very much, I take great comfort in knowing that if confirmed, she will sit on the Court of Appeal, crafting clear, comprehensive, and intellectually rigorous opinions that will be of immense benefit to the people of California and our state's ever-evolving jurisprudence. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. It has truly been an honor.
Thank you, Judge Nguyen, for your very helpful remarks here today, painting a wonderful portrait of your friend and colleague. We appreciate it. The Commission now invites the Chair of the Judicial Nominees Evaluation Commission, Ms. Malik, for the report of the evaluation that they conducted.
Good morning, Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, Senior Presiding Justice Gilbert. I am deeply honored today to present this report on behalf of the Commission on Judicial Nomination Evaluation to summarize the basis of the Commission's rating of Judge Natalie P. Stone for the Office of Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, Second Appellate District, Division 7. The Jenny Commission conducted its evaluation of Judge Stone at the December 2023 Jenny meeting, finding her to be well qualified for service on the Second District Court of Appeal. According to Commission rules, that rating reflects the Commission's determination that Judge Stone possesses qualities and attributes indicative of a superior fitness to perform the appellate judicial function with a high degree of skill, effectiveness, and distinction, and is well qualified for the appellate court. Judge Stone grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, in a middle-class family that lived frugally on her father's math professor's salary. The candidate credits her parents for instilling in her compassion and a strong sense of social justice. Judge Stone received a BA from Duke University in History and in French in 1993, and earned her JD from the University of California, Los Angeles in 1998, where she designed UCLA's Disability Rights Clinic and supervised landlord, tenant, and homeless youth clinics. After clerking for the Honorable A. Wallace Tashima of the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit from 1998 to 1999, Judge Stone became an associate at Mungers, Tolles, and Olson, where she worked on a variety of complex civil litigation matters. In 2010, Judge Stone began working as an appellate court attorney at the Second District Court of Appeal. She credits the Honorable Thomas L. Willhite Jr. in honing her writing skills. Judge Stone was appointed to her current position as a Los Angeles County Superior Court judge in 2015. She effectively managed a juvenile dependency assignment for 4 years before transferring to a criminal court assignment in 2019. She presided over the central calendar for all civil motions relating to bail bond forfeitures, a niche and complex area of the law. Additionally, she served as Justice Pro Tem 3 times for the Second District Court of Appeal, where she authored over 50 appellate opinions, presided over appellate cases that extended well beyond her expertise, and earned unstinting praise from her colleagues. Judge Stone is active in various professional associations and community organizations, including volunteering with teen court and judges in the classroom and mentoring law students at UCLA and Pepperdine Caruso School of Law. Professional and judicial colleagues widely laud Judge Stone for her exceptional research and writing skills, work ethic, and excellent judicial temperament. As Jenny Commission Chair, it is my honor and privilege to appear at this confirmation hearing of Judge Natalie Stone to testify as to the Commission's evaluation.
Thank you so much, Ms. Malik, for your report and the work of your commission. We now invite Judge Stone to present a statement, if you wish, and then to answer any questions the commission have.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chief Justice Guerrero, Attorney General Bonta, and Senior Presiding Justice Gilbert, I'm truly honored to be standing here before you today. I would like to express my gratitude to Governor Newsom for nominating me for this position on the Second District Court of Appeal. I submit on the record before you, and I would be very pleased to answer any questions the Commission may have.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
Just a quick comment and a question. First of all, thank you to the witnesses for your wonderful portrait of your friend. Appreciate the insight. You had me at soccer player. As a former soccer player, and I emphasize and stress former, but also the father of a professional soccer player, I can attest to the life lessons and lessons in being a good leader and being a good team member that it creates. So wonderful to learn about that dimension of your multi-talented skill set. I did have a question about the transition to appellate court justice. Of course, you have experience in that regard, but what do you think about your career as a judge and as a practitioner will be most valuable to you as you make the transition?
I think in many ways, my time being a judge, my 9 years, will be really helpful as I make this transition. First of all, the substantive knowledge that I've gained in child dependency for a number of years and now in criminal are going to be immensely helpful. And it was really part of my master plan to go to criminal, since my background did not include being in the trial courts in criminal courts. So I wanted to get that practical on-the-ground experience, and I feel like I've gotten that now. And having been a research attorney before, I'd been exposed to every different kind of case. But I had the sense that being in the trial court, being in the trenches, would be very useful for me, and I believe that it was. Then just seeing the litigants, the parties before me, interacting with the children and the parents in dependency court, hearing the trials and tribulations that the families went through, the difficulties of the social worker system, all the strapped resources for our state, seeing firsthand the repercussions and the effects on our public, I think has been invaluable. Same in criminal court, interacting with criminal defendants, seeing firsthand how important upholding their constitutional rights is, how important it is for them to feel that they have a judge who hears them, and even if ultimately I hold them to answer after the preliminary hearing, I've given them their day in court. And also seeing the victims of criminal cases, hearing their impact statements, watching the families of the defendants in court. All of those things, I think, have given an additional dimension to me that I will bring with me to the Court of Appeal. And I intend to keep in mind all those human facets instead of just seeing a cold record before me.
Thank you.
Justice Gilbert?
Just a few questions. To some extent, maybe you've answered the question from the Attorney General's questions, but you've done it all. You were a research attorney making Court of Appeal justices look good. Justice Willhite is one of the outstanding jurists, and you were very lucky to work for him. He was a colleague and dear friend of mine. So then you become a Superior Court judge. Then you're a judge pro tem with no help from any research attorney, working for different divisions and getting praise from, I'm giving my vote away already, I think, getting great praise from everyone. And you worked in Division 7, and how lucky you're going to be with that division, with now presiding Justice Martinez and Justices Siegel and Fuhrer. They're good friends and good colleagues and outstanding. They're icons already. You're going to be in that wonderful division. So how is your perspective? I mean, here you are as a Court of Appeal justice. Then you're on the Superior Court. And there's a different mindset. There has to be, because I was there. I did the same thing. And then going back to the Court of Appeal as a pro tem, looking at having a perspective now on cases from the Superior Court. What's the difference? How do you process a case when you've been sitting on that Superior Court just a day earlier?
Well, I suppose my mind is going to be jumping all over the place, putting myself in the shoes of the Superior Court judge, which I wasn't able to do before. Now thinking about how, when I was there, I was working on making a record for the Court of Appeal, which I felt that was a real benefit to having been a research attorney. When I got to the Superior Court, I was thinking about that record at all times. And I think you don't necessarily innately do that. But I will be thinking about them thinking about making a record. So I think that might be probably an extra layer of thinking that I don't necessarily need to get into, but I'll probably be doing it. But I will be mindful of the crushing caseloads, for instance, in dependency court or family or civil or probate, and how that affects the decisions. Of course, I think often they're getting it right. Sometimes they are rushed. They don't necessarily have the time that we have on the Court of Appeal to dive into every issue. I'm looking forward again to having the luxury of time to really ensure we're getting it right and giving guidance to then trial judges and parties with clear, concise opinions.
One other point. It's the question that I asked now presiding Justice Martinez. I noticed you studied Romance languages at Duke and French literature. So to what extent, if any, here's my question again, do you think studying the arts, literature, informs your opinion writing?
Well, I can remember a class I took where I was analyzing a Duras book, and I remember that the professor really liked what I had done because she said I had drawn connections from different parts of the novel that she had never put together before. And I think what I did was essentially put them into an opinion and reach a conclusion by drawing connections from different parts of the story that were seemingly unrelated. So I think that I was building the skills that now I've learned to use in crafting an opinion, which is you take a lot of different, not only data points, but also different principles and strains of the law, and you try to make sense of it together into some cohesive, easy to apply message, guiding principles to the lower courts and to litigants and parties who are trying to abide by the law, know what the outcome may be. So I do think that the skills are transferable, and I agree with you that a study of the arts and humanities is beneficial to everyone. I think my father always wanted me to do computer science, but we didn't do that.
Yes, it's like the poet who writes to be understood. We write to, or rather, I have it backwards, the poet who writes to understand. We can use that to write to be understood. So thank you for your insight. That's quite interesting. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Gilbert. My question relates to your background that we heard a little bit about, your commitment to being a team player. We heard your interest in soccer. I noticed you also play volleyball. And so you have had some experience as a research attorney being part of a team, and insight into the collaborative work that takes place. So my question to you is, how do you feel your transition will be coming from the Superior Court to the Court of Appeal, where you're now a member of a 3-judge panel trying to convince your colleagues? How would you approach that challenge?
Well, luckily, I think I've had the opportunity, having been a pro tem justice, 3 different times in 3 different divisions. So I feel that I already have a pretty good idea of how to work collaboratively, to gain consensus, to approach trying to get others to sign on to my opinions in a way that's not trying to ram it down everybody's throat. It's my way or the highway, but rather this is my judgment, but I'm open to hearing from you. Or if there are disagreements, can we still come to a consensus around maybe a modified way to get there? So I think it's just being open-minded and being willing to accept constructive criticism, which I've never had a problem with in my whole career, I don't think I have all the answers. So mostly just staying open-minded and taking ego out of it.
Well, you've been quite productive with over 50 opinions so far, so we look forward to, not to give away my vote, but your future opinions. This completes the list of witnesses who are here to testify. Are the members of the commission ready to vote? Yes. All in favor of confirming Judge Natalie Stone for this position, please say aye.
Aye.
On the record and correspondence that we've received, the commission finds Judge Stone qualified to be an Associate Justice of the Court of Appeal, Second Appellate District, Division 7. We confirm her appointment. Congratulations, Justice Stone. The formal portion of the hearing is now adjourned, and Justice Stone has asked me to swear her in. You're all welcome to stay for that, and we'll do that in a few minutes after taking care of some paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Natalie Stone,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much again to the members of the commission and to Governor Newsom for this great honor and opportunity to serve the people of California. I'm humbled by the faith that has been placed in me to join the exceptional jurists on the Second District Court of Appeal. In particular, I'm thrilled to be joining Division 7, as I know full well the dedication to serving justice that my new colleague, Justice Gonzalo Martinez, or now presiding Justice Gonzalo Martinez, thank you, I'm glad that happened, so that a spot was opened up for me, as well as Justice John Siegel and Justice Gail Fuhrer. Each of you have that. I thank each of you for being here today. I would also like to thank Judicial Appointments Secretary Louis Cespedes, as well as Deputy Secretary Adam Hoffman and Deputy Debbie Kuhn for their consideration of my application. Going through this process, it became very clear to me that your approach of vetting candidates for our state's bench was done with the seriousness and thoughtfulness that we would all hope for. I would like to recognize the Jenny Commission, including Commission Chair Chaya Malik, and Commissioners Jehan Pernas, Nikki Oksu, and Mac Jenkins, as well as the Los Angeles County Bar Association State Appellate Judicial Evaluation Committee, and the Governor's Judicial Selection Advisory Committee for Los Angeles. Thank you all for your efforts and for conducting the investigations that were required in order to thoroughly evaluate my application. Thank you also to Janelle Baker. Thank you. To court staff and to the CHP for making this event possible. Thank you to my speakers. I don't think Justice Willhite can hear me live, but I hope he watches this back so that I can tell him that your unflagging support and belief in me have meant the world to me. I would not be standing here if not for you. I learned so much from your example, the humility and humor that you bring to every situation, your civility and compassion for others, your unwavering commitment to reaching the just result under the law. All these are qualities that I want to emulate. Judge Nguyen, thank you for being a rock and a wise sounding board for me. I loved working through new legal issues with you, either in one of our chambers or on our cell phones on the way to work or after work. You've been a dear friend with whom I could share any reservations or worries, and also my joyous moments. Thank you to those who wrote letters on my behalf, including Justice Gail Pure, and including Los Angeles County Superior Court presiding Judge Samantha Jessner, who's been a transformative force at the helm of our court, as well as now retired presiding Justice Nora Minella, whom I am also so fortunate to have as a role model and a mentor. Thanks also to the unity bars of the counties of Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, Ventura County, and San Luis Obispo, as well as women bar leaders in Los Angeles County for their supporting letters. And thank you to the many justices, judges, and members of the bar who supported me and provided input in response to the many inquiries about me. I owe a big thank you to Ninth Circuit Judge Wally Tashima, who I happen to know is watching live. Clerking for this lion of justice right out of law school was a truly formative experience. I was in awe of Judge Tashima's wisdom, his integrity, and his dedication to fairly applying the law. And I developed a reverence for our judicial systems that eventually led to my decision to work for the Court of Appeal as an appellate attorney and set me on the path to becoming a judge and now a justice. I also count my blessings that I was able to work at the law firm Munger, Tolles & Olson for 10 years. I went there to learn from the brightest lawyers, and that I did, but I also benefited from observing these lawyers' unwavering commitment to the ethical practice of law and their dedication to taking pro bono cases and to supporting our community in other important ways. To the bench officers and staff at the Los Angeles County Superior Court, I salute you and I admire you. What incredible work you all do each day to serve the public in our county. I love to talk about the hearts of gold inside our dependency bench officers who choose that as their permanent assignment. They're not just applying law to facts. They are champions for the children who they're charged with protecting, and they're warm and loving with those children. They are cheerleaders for struggling parents. My colleagues in the criminal court are similarly dedicated to ensuring that defendants and victims feel they've been heard and afforded their rights. Thank you to Judicial Assistant Nicole Mendoza, Bailiff Joanne Salas, and Court Reporter Cindy Cameron for being the greatest supporting team one could ask for. I believe my work in the Superior Court these past 9 years has been noble work, and I will greatly miss my colleagues and court staff. When I joined the Court of Appeal as an appellate attorney almost 15 years ago, I never could have imagined or dreamed that I would join the ranks of the justices whom I so admired. Having served as a pro tem justice 3 times in 3 different divisions, I've gotten more comfortable rubbing shoulders with Court of Appeal justices, but today I still feel a bit like this is a dream. However, tomorrow, when I show up for my first day in the Ronald Reagan State Building on Spring Street in Los Angeles, it will feel like coming home. That building is where I developed lasting friendships with smart, hardworking people. It's where I learned from so many fine justices as an attorney there, and then as a pro tem justice. And besides those I've already mentioned, I was fortunate to have as examples justices like Norm Epstein, Dennis Perlis, and Lee Edmond. When I return to the court on Spring Street tomorrow, I'll see many of the same devoted and hardworking administrators, court clerks, judicial assistants, CHP and security officers, attorneys, janitors, and others who were there when I first got there 15 years ago. You've all been so welcoming, and happy for me each time I've come back on a temporary basis. And I'm excited to be reunited once again and to continue our work on behalf of the people of the state of California. To my husband, Max, I would not have made it to this point without the sacrifices you made and the responsibilities you shouldered for our then smaller children, particularly during my time as a law firm associate and as a new dependency court judge, working long hours. I appreciate your humor, your fresh and honest takes, how you always keep it real, the ways that you challenge me, and the fact that you always put our family first. To my children, first to my daughter, Aiden, I'm so proud of your perseverance and resilience as you learn to adult in your freshman year of college far away from home. To my son, Dylan, the countdown to your college graduation has begun, and I'm excited to see where your self-awareness and strong moral compass take you in life. To my parents, your love and support enabled me to be a confident, successful person in my professional and personal life. And I learned from you both the value of self-sacrifice. From my mother, I learned to be optimistic and that it's never too late to pursue a dream. And my father taught me to recognize the privileges I had and to always have compassion for and take action to help those in less fortunate circumstances. To my 3 younger siblings, my sisters Anne-Marie and Michelle, who traveled far to be here today, and my brother Mark, I thank you guys for allowing me to practice on you so I could figure out that being a tyrant is not the way to go. I also hit the jackpot with a kind and generous stepmother and such terrific in-laws. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law also traveled here to be with me today, and my brother-in-law and father-in-law, and I think my father-in-law is my biggest fan, are watching from the East Coast. I'm grateful for your love and support as well. Thank you to my treasured friend, Tema Bambak, who traveled from New York to be here today, and to all my friends who are watching this online and who are with me in spirit. I've leaned on so many of you. On this day, I'm filled with gratitude and excitement for what is to come. Thank you.